Welcome to the Johnson City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnson City a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson, with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. It is a beautiful fall day here in Johnson City. Cold is coming. It's 48 degrees, I think, and I'm wearing a sweater today. So I am excited that we've got Sarah Barnett with Simply Sorted on the podcast today. You guys are going to learn how to get organized. You're going to learn about Sarah and her journey back to Johnson City. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
And you're a product of like the podcast. Like you saw the podcast with the journalist folks. They're awesome. And then you filled out the form, and here we are.
I know.
That's awesome.
Full circle.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah. All right. So tell our listeners a little bit about Sarah. Introduce yourself.
Awesome. I'm Sarah Barnett, formerly Sarah Ellis. So I grew up here in Johnson City, born and raised. I left when I was 21. I was ready for bigger things, and I moved to New York City. I went to a fashion business school there and lived in New York and Brooklyn for like 4 years.
Oh, cool.
Graduated and kind of knew that I didn't want to be in like the high fashion industry. I loved the outdoor industry. I'm very outdoorsy and active. I love to ski and hike. And so my heart kind of took me out to Portland, which little did I know it's kind of like a hub for apparel design and creation.
Oh, that's
Nike's
cool.
Based out there. Adidas has a giant
Patagonia.
And tons of brands, even small little niche brands. And that's what I ended up working at Icebreaker, which is a small merino wool based. I
saw that downtown. We were talking before we got started that Carly and I went. So we were walking by. I saw that because we walked all over the downtown. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's based out of New Zealand. So not a lot of people in the US know about it. It has a huge presence over in Europe. But so I worked at Columbia Sportswear for a year and a half. It was a little bit too corporate for me. So I wanted something smaller that was really focused on sustainability. That's how I found Icebreaker, and I fell in love with the team. It was about 20 people who worked there doing everything from design to fit, fabric.
So you got to do the whole deal, basically, like start to finish. Like I have an idea for a jacket or a sweater or whatever. And boom, here it is. I'm wearing it.
Present it out to the sales reps and kind of watch it come to market and all of that stuff. So it was amazing. I loved doing that. It was like my dream kind of came true. I loved living in Portland. It was a very active, healthy lifestyle. But then, unfortunately, my company got bought out by a huge corporation, moved everybody back to New Zealand, and I decided I did not want to move that far away from home. I was already far enough living across the country.
New Zealand's on our bucket list, but I don't know that I want to move there.
It's far, and it's beautiful, but it's funny because a lot of New Zealand actually reminded me of East Tennessee, some of the landscape and stuff. So I decided that my time had kind of come to an end. I was burnt out 100% in the apparel industry. I kind of needed to step back and get like recharged and find my passion again. And I actually took a yoga training course. I became a yoga teacher.
Cool.
And I never went back to the apparel industry. And as I was going through my yoga training, I started doing personal organizing, professional organizing on the side. Which is super random, kind of, again, like a niche thing, but with like, the home edit and Marie Kondo and all of this stuff, everybody wants to have like this ideal, beautiful space now. It's definitely been more popular over the past couple of years.
Oh yeah. Marie Kondo, I think, put it on the map.
For sure.
I came home one day and Carly had all of her clothes on the bed. And I was like, what are we doing here? And she's holding them up, doing that. Do I feel joy from this? It was great. I mean, like she organized her whole, and she's like you. She likes, by seasons and by different colors. And I just take my stuff and put it on the hanger.
There you go. Hey, keep your wife happy.
Hey, she's awesome. Yeah, she does a great job with it.
Yeah. And it's hard, when you're working in your own space, it's a struggle. And I even people think I live in this like super organized, beautiful house. And to be honest, you come in and I'm like, I can't keep my kitchen organized or whatever. It's different when you're working in someone else's space.
I gotcha.
Because you don't have like an emotional tie to anything. You know, when it's your own stuff, it's a little bit harder to work.
Had you always been organized in your life?
Well, it's funny. Not really. My older sister, Rachel, she actually is OCD. She loves to have everything in its space, 100% from her bedroom to her garage, like everything.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't really like that. I wasn't dirty, but I was kind of just, I didn't care if things like piled up on the floor or whatever. And I don't know where the shift happened. I think when I moved in on my own and I had to keep up with my own household and all of that stuff, I started to really, the clutter really started to actually give me like anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd come home and be like, I cannot find anything, and it
And
would,
I'm frustrated.
yeah, getting really, really frustrated, just trying to find like one little thing. It should take a second to find. And now I've wasted like 20 minutes trying to
Yeah.
find something. So I ended up finding a franchise who, unfortunately, I can't like speak of the name because of my contract that I signed with them. But I did like high-end luxury home organizing out in Portland with them
Oh, cool.
for about 2.5 years. And that's where I got all of my experience from. I worked with an amazing team, just fell in love kind of with the whole process.
Yeah.
And fast forward 2.5 years, I found out that I was pregnant. We were ready kind of to leave Portland, me and my husband, and we moved back to Johnson City in February. And then I had my little baby girl in the end of March.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're back here. Again, I was born and raised here. My whole family's here. My dad has lived here his whole entire life. My
That's cool.
grandmother used to be in banking. Like everybody knows everybody in Johnson City. That's why I love it,
Yeah.
So yeah, I currently am at our family farm out in Jonesboro, living on Avalon Farm with my mom and dad.
Nice.
An event venue out there. We do
Yeah.
weddings. It's also a horse barn.
Yeah.
Grew up riding horses, and it's just a special little place out there. It's like,
I was out there probably 2 or 3 months ago. My son Christian was helping out with the wedding. He was working.
oh, at Avalon, at our farm.
I think
How
so. Yeah.
funny.
Like
yeah.
because it's got like a big glass doors on the side of it, and the event
Yeah.
venue, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so he was a server in there. And,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And it went really late. We had to go pick him up at like midnight. We were like, we really don't want to drive down there and pick him up.
Yeah, I know. The weddings, it's funny.
Why don't you just sleep there?
Live on the venue with having the weddings. You're kind of like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, you don't want to be a buzzkill, but
Yeah.
you're like, I want to go to bed.
Yeah, people leave.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't have
But
to go
it's
home.
really
You just can't
special.
stay here.
My sister got married out there. I got married out there. The farm's been in our family for like 20 years now.
That's
and
awesome.
It's just a really, really special place that we knew we wanted to raise our daughter. And so, yeah, once I had her, I'm a busybody. I knew I didn't want to just be at home. Obviously, I love being at home with my daughter, but I have a bigger purpose and passion in life than just being a mom.
Right.
I need another role than that. So I
launched.
Yeah. I launched Simply Sorted in July, August, and then kind of just sat back and was waiting to see what happened. Again, this is a very niche little industry that I'm in, and especially in Johnson City, coming from such a bigger city like Portland, where the demand and income is a lot higher out there. People are willing to spend a lot of money.
Higher.
Yeah, the population. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen with this. Right. And again, I kind of just like stepped back, was going to see what happened, trying to just do word of mouth, got my website up and running, my Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, and passing out business cards. And so, yeah, that's why I thought I need to get on this podcast.
In the ground running.
Share, because this is a great platform.
Yeah.
Podcasts are huge these days.
It's taken off. It's a lot of fun. And,
awesome.
And we're on Facebook somewhere, I think. And so, hey, Facebook people, if you need organizing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so getting the word out, and you're just kind of beating the bushes and hitting the streets. And
pretty much.
You're a solo entrepreneur.
It's just me right now. One day I would love to have a team again, because it is hard.
Yeah.
Physically.
Sure.
It's physically demanding. People don't think, when I would work 8 or 9 hours in Portland, I'd come home and I would be
wiped it. Yeah.
And I'm like, all I did was organize a closet today. But it's a lot of, you're on your feet all day.
Right.
You're picking up heavy stuff, moving stuff around. And
it's not your stuff. So you don't you're kind of like not super, you're invested, but you're not like, I really want these boots put perfectly in this. You're just kind of like, I'm just going to put these over here and put this. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a fun, awesome job. I really think that it can benefit people more than what they think. A lot of people think, oh, you're just coming in and like tidying up my space, but really it's more than that. It's about like being intentional and mindful about really just everything that you have, all of your belongings. I learned about mindfulness and being intentional a lot in my yoga training. So it kind of like trickled into this business.
Let's step into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Intentional, like
Uh-huh.
for you, what does that mean? Like on a day-to-day basis?
Doing every little thing, no matter what it is, like if you're reading something or doing an activity or whatever it may be that can like better serve you, and doing it with like the purest intention, like hoping that it can serve you and others,
Make you a better person
and
help somebody else out, probably.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, being mindful is a huge thing, which I was never into that until I went through my yoga training. I didn't know how to meditate. And then that's actually what I became like most obsessed with through that whole journey and process. And now like I crave meditation, and I think so many people can benefit from it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I try to bring that into my organizing and try to come in every day with a clear mind. You know, because the energy, I'm big into energy and what you feel off of your home.
Yeah.
I believe that your home should be like a little sanctuary. And sometimes it's really hard. Like if you live in a cluttered, kind of dark, dusty environment, that's going to kind of translate.
Affect your psyche and your energy and your body. And
100%.
Talk to the listeners a little bit about meditation. Give us some tips. What are your tips on meditating? How do you get into it?
I would definitely highly recommend doing some guided meditations first off. And I do have a little free YouTube channel. The Lifted Yogi is that's what I used to teach under. And I have like an Instagram under the Lifted Yogi and a YouTube with some guided meditations.
That's cool.
But the first thing I would say is just be easy on yourself. It's so easy to like get frustrated with the process. And start small, just like do a minute or two a day. And meditation can look, you know, everybody thinks you have to be sitting in lotus pose with your eyes closed in a dark room, you know.
You don't have to do that.
Doesn't have to. You can meditate right here with our eyes open.
Mitch and I are going to start meditating right before the podcast.
Hey, if you need me to come and help you meditate,
That's right.
I would love to do that.
That'd be good.
It's just so impactful, especially for someone like me. I used to be so reactive, very fiery kind of attitude, and any little tiny thing would trigger me. And now I kind of just can live a happier, less stressed life.
You're like,
you know,
it's going to be okay. Yeah.
Yes. So meditating is a game changer. And I would love to, when things kind of settle down and my business picks up and I get kind of in like a good system with that, I would love to start teaching more yoga and doing more.
And they kind of go hand in hand, right? I mean, like you're decluttering your mind when you're meditating, and then you're rolling in and decluttering your house. And when those two come together, you're a little more at peace, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Tell us about your family. You said you had a 4-month-old.
So I can't even remember how old she is because I'm so sleep deprived. She just turned 6 months old.
Nice.
Yes.
Congratulations.
She's beautiful. Her name is Iris Ray. She's my first. Like I said, I was born and raised here. My dad I think he only left Johnson City to go to dental school in Memphis. So he's never left the state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
My mom's originally from Kansas, but she's lived here, you know, over half of her life now. My grandmother is Ruth Ellis. She's pretty influential in the community. She has a lot to do with the ETSU Business School. She was in banking. She is like my biggest cheerleader, my best friend. I love her so much.
Awesome.
She's 90 something and she's like still kicking. She's a little firecracker.
Yeah.
So I love her so much. I have really good support and advice when it comes to them from business points of view, right? Like my grandmother was president of the bank. My dad owns his own dental practice and stuff. So I turned to them heavily when I was launching Simply Sorted.
Yeah.
Because I did go to a business school, but it specialized in fashion. So I only took like basic like accounting classes and stuff.
But some of the principles translate for sure.
Yeah.
You got to get out and hustle and market and
all of that stuff.
All that fun
so
stuff.
It's been huge having them. And that's another reason why I wanted to come back to Johnson City, is because in Portland, everything is kind of oversaturated. And here I feel like, you know, this town is growing like crazy. I moved back and I'm like, what is going on?
I used to be able to get a house for like $100,000 and it was nice. And now I'm paying $400 for it.
Yeah. In the downtown area.
Booming.
You would never come down here when, you know, I've been gone almost 15 years. So it's changed drastically.
Yes.
And I just think there is so much opportunity in Johnson City for like any and all businesses.
Yeah.
Like Laura and Brad with the Generalist. I'm
Yeah.
so happy
that
that they
cool?
have that
Yeah.
store that's going to be huge for the town,
Mhm.
and just kind of bringing light to like small business owners and like craftsmen and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, really exciting. So like a year ago when I was pregnant in Portland, we were trying to figure out our life. It's just kind of wild to see that we're here now. I'm booking clients, I'm working, I've had my baby, and it's kind of like coming full circle. Thanks.
What's your husband do?
God and everything. So right now we kind of just both took a little breather from
Nice.
work. He
Yeah.
was in the farming and agriculture industry
cool.
in Portland, and again, I was in the apparel industry for the majority of my career out there, and then moved into yoga and organizing. So right now he's like stay-at-home dad.
That's awesome. Good
Which
for
he's
him.
like, I love this.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm like, I love it because I need, like I said, I need to get out and like be more than just a mom. Because again, I had her older. I got married a little bit older in my life. Like I'm used to kind of being on my own and being independent. So it's great to have him with Iris,
helping and supporting him, and then outgrowing stuff probably on the farm.
Oh, totally. It's a full-time job just being
yeah.
on the farm, like between the mowing, the horses, the weddings, the events. Like it's awesome that we can be there to help my mom and dad. And because my dad still works full-time. And
my wife, Carla, used to go to your dad as
oh,
dentist.
really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's been a dentist like
for a long time, and then hooked up with Dr. Medford, who's a friend of ours.
Medford.
So
I love Mike. He's
he's a good
too.
guy, and golly, that guy runs and runs and runs and runs.
Yeah, he's so healthy. Nuts. Him and his wife both. They're great people, though.
Yeah. So, what do you guys? You said you like to hike. What do you guys like to do other than hiking in town for fun?
Well,
since it is Johnson City living, now that you're back.
Yes. One, I just love to come downtown and walk around. I think Founders Park is amazing. I love all of the events, like the first Fridays, was it that they call, with events and the music and everything. It's been, and the farmers markets. I really just love to get out and kind of like support local businesses.
Yeah, same here.
Which I think is huge because back in the day when I was here, there was nothing small about it. It was like all the restaurants were chain restaurants.
Yep.
All the shops were just big box.
For a little while there, I thought we were like a chain restaurant, like Trial City or something. Yeah. They're like, well, if it'll work there, it'll work anywhere. We're going to throw them all in there.
Yeah. And then going to Portland and having the complete opposite where there's no chain restaurants, everything's local mom and pop. That's why when I started to visit, we would come back like once a year to visit, usually around Christmas. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, Johnson City is kind of like getting with the vibe, and now I just think it is so amazing to kind of come out and see all of the local breweries and all of that. Granted, I pretty much moved back here almost 9 months pregnant, wasn't doing much of anything.
You're hanging out at the house.
And so now I'm just trying to like get in some sort of routine with being a mom.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Some days I'm lucky if I even get out of the house, to be honest.
And that's okay.
But yeah, I love Johnson City. I feel like we're going to be here probably for the rest of our lives and kind of come back here and raise our kids and everything.
What are some of the things that you love about the city? I mean, besides mountains and
the people,
local, the people
everybody is so insanely nice.
Isn't that crazy?
Which I love, being in New York City. No, you do not get that. Everybody fends for themselves, but that's kind of expected.
But it doesn't have to be,
No, it doesn't have to
change. They could be like us.
My dad would get so upset when he would come to visit me up there. He's holding the door open for everybody. I'm like, Dad, you're going to be there for 30 minutes holding the door open for everybody. You can't do that. You kind of have to be a little bit selfish when you live there. I would honestly say the people, because living in New York and then living in Portland, which Portland people, Oregon people are very, very nice, but they're kind of just, they keep to themselves, I didn't even know my neighbors when I lived out there, but they were, if I needed them, I knew I could like go over to their house, but they weren't going to come over and like start conversation and stuff like that. So
the community here just loves one another. You know, we just,
it's huge.
It is huge.
Especially when you need that and you've been.
Yeah. Especially if you've got like a new baby and you need some support and
yeah. So we're happy to be back.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. So what do you see for the future? Like, let's talk about Simply Sorted, and you're hoping to grow this business and tell, I guess, the listeners about like, hey, What job's too small, if there is one, or too
Yeah.
big, or
Yeah.
any of that stuff?
Really no job too small or too big. Again, I'm hoping to grow a team. Um, whenever we start to get a little bit busier. Right now, I'm obviously kind of like monitoring my intake.
Sure.
I'm working kind of limited hours just from, trying to take care of my child and myself,
Yeah.
mentally,
Right.
and then have this business grow. So right now I'm working like 5 or 6 hour days, which is amazing that I can control my own schedule. That's huge, and kind of having time freedom. But I want
Yeah.
this company to grow as big as it can. I can
Mhm.
see myself having a team underneath me,
Mhm.
and doing big corporate jobs even too, like at businesses, hospital. We did a lot of work out in Portland with some big high client like companies,
Oh, that's cool.
which I loved doing that. Everybody thinks, oh, you're going to come and do my closet or my house. And I'm like,
Right.
no, I can do your office or your
Right.
storage room or really anything, a training
Yeah,
facility.
that's crazy. Yeah, I guess my brain is like thinking about things like, oh, okay. I mean, one, my wife is fantastic. She is an
Yeah.
organizer. We have all our stuff in bins, and she's
Love
great.
it.
But let's say that, like in my area, like a workbench or a garage or something,
Mhm.
like for our listeners, if they're like, oh, I've got my garage, right? And I just kind of throw junk in there. And I meet a
Yes.
lot of people who don't park in their garage because they've
Yep.
got a lot of stuff. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, hey, it's
Mhm.
getting cold.
Yep.
Get that stuff.
Yeah. Your garage is for your car.
Yeah, right. I mean, you want to be warm when you get in
Yeah,
your, like, you have a
totally.
garage.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we had a carport for a long time and it was cold. And so like we love
Yes.
our garage. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I want to pull in
totally.
there all the time.
Yes,
And so
100%.
like, is that something like you'd come and help somebody fix up their garage?
Garages, I will say, are probably like the number one most requested space. I'm not even gonna lie. Garages
yeah.
and basements,
Yeah.
because that's the space that like
You just
you throw stuff in. Like your basement, you regularly go into,
Right.
but your garage, you kind of that's your first space when you come home.
Yeah.
Like when you pull in, hopefully you're pulling your car into the garage.
Yes.
You want it to be clean and organized and sorted.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I drive around houses and I'm peeping in the garages. I'm like, oh my God, I want to get my hands on their
Yeah.
garage.
You're like, you get a note. I'm going to write you a note.
But yeah, it's so pretty much the same process. That's what's amazing about organizing is no matter what space you're doing, whether it's a kitchen, a bathroom, a playroom, a nursery, an office, whatever it is, the process is still the same.
Yeah.
So I pull every little thing out. Like
You like throw it all in the driveway.
yeah, and I organize it.
Okay.
Very, very high level.
Give us some tips. Give our listeners some tips if they maybe can't.
Okay.
They're not here in town with you and you
100%,
can't
yeah.
come over and fix them.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
step one, get it all out on
Get
the
it all
driveway, get all
out.
the
Yes.
kitchen stuff, put it all
Yep.
on the counters.
Yep. Get everything out of your drawers, your shelves, whatever it may be,
Yep.
and lay it out. I usually put drop cloths down, and then I use Post-it notes, and I come through and I kind of label, like, let's say if I'm doing a garage, I would be like backstock toiletry. A lot of people keep like extra tissue paper and
or
paper
4,000
towels out
rolls
there,
of it because you never
with
know.
COVID,
That's
everybody bought like
yeah.
1,000 Lysol wipes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So it's like you kind of just want to categorize everything
Yeah.
together, and then that way you can kind of see, oh my gosh, I have 7 screwdrivers. I don't need that. Because at the end of the day, nothing is really organized to start, so you don't really know what you have. That's kind of the whole process of organizing, and the point is to understand what you have, know where it is, so you can kind of just like easily thrive through your day to day.
Do you help people eliminate too? Like,
oh yeah,
for me, you're going to go, okay, you have
Yes.
like 40 pairs of khaki
Uh-huh.
pants and you're going to be
Mhm.
like, do you
Yep.
need all these? Do they bring you
Yes.
joy?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, they might one day. Carly's
Yeah.
like good about that too. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got to get rid of
That's
this.
awesome. I need to meet your wife.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a huge thing. Is everybody's like, oh no, I can edit on my own, and I'm like, no, I really need to be there with you because
I think having somebody walk you through that, like,
yeah,
like just let go.
it's a huge thing, because that is where people get hung up.
Yeah.
They're like, well, some things are sentimental.
Yep.
And again, for me, like every little tiny thing, even if it's like this lid,
Yeah.
I don't throw anything away until I've talked to the client, because you don't know what that means to them.
Right. That was my first coffee cup lid with my wife.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Right. Yeah. You never know what the story is behind
right.
everything. And I'm the same way. I have clothes that I can't fit into anymore that I've had because I have a sentimental attachment
Sure.
to them, you know? So
Yeah.
it's more than just your stuff.
Right.
And that's why I try to be really cautious with people. In Portland, I will say I started to get involved with this one woman who I love, but she was actually more on like the hoarder level of stuff,
Okay.
which
Yeah, I could see
I
that.
do not have expertise in.
Like that's
But
more counseling and organizing.
yeah, you really need more like of a psychology, somebody there
Yeah.
that can help you with like the whole mental state
Breaking free
behind
from
that.
that deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why are you holding on to this
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
It's an
So I
emotional.
got myself into that situation and kind of quickly learned like this is too much for me. But I had such a great relationship with this woman that I helped transform her whole house.
That's
It's
awesome.
amazing, But then again, it's like the upkeep of it all,
Yeah. Right.
trying to keep up with the
Creating
process.
habits of this is
Yeah.
where this goes when
Yeah.
your
So
keys go here when you get in the
Yep.
house, and your
Yep.
jacket goes on the corner.
Every little thing.
Sorry,
has a
I jumped off.
space.
You were like,
No,
so you
no,
got
no, you're good.
you got post-it
Yeah.
notes
So
of stuff.
I usually categorize everything like tools, backstock, automotive cleaning, like whatever the space is. If you're in your closet, I put all of your tank tops, your t-shirts together, and then I work with you to edit everything. And then I love to obviously reuse and I'm huge on sustainability, so I
Yeah.
try not to create a lot of waste.
Yeah.
I donate as much as I can.
Good.
I can resell
Yeah,
stuff for
that was
people.
one of my questions coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And we've got the Good Samaritan here who we love. They're awesome.
Good. Yeah.
So,
I'm still
and they're
learning.
right down the street. Right.
I need some more places to donate and stuff too. I took some stuff to Wags to Riches, which my mom uses.
Yeah.
They donate a lot to the
I drove by that.
Society,
Yeah. Yeah. I drove by there the other day.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
cool.
good. So I'm still trying to find all of the little organizations and stuff to donate to.
Yeah.
Which I know there's a ton here. So yeah, we get rid of everything that you don't want, which sometimes is a quick process. Sometimes it's hours and hours, depending on the person.
Yeah.
And the space. And then the fun part starts for me. I kind of start product planning and figuring out, okay, if I lived here, this is how I would lay out the space. And again, I don't really work with the client that much throughout the whole process, which is amazing because that's why they hire me, right? I don't want you doing the heavy lifting and doing the hard work.
Gotcha.
I just need you to edit with me and trust me that I'm not gonna like mess up your space.
Right. I'm not gonna steal it all. I'm not gonna
break stuff, whatever. And I do work with the client, at the end, I'm like, hey, this is where I've placed this. Does this work for you? We can move things around.
Like, do you help with shelving and drawers and all that stuff if you want to get closet organizers and you do all that stuff?
I can I redo shelves. I can work with contractors to redesign your closet if you need. And again, it kind of all is based around the budget. Some people are like, I have thousands of dollars to waste on my closet. Some people are like, I got a couple $100.
I've got thousands of dollars in clothes in my closet. That's about it.
Yeah.
I can't afford the rest of it.
Yeah. So, and then I product shop and implement the product label. And again, everything at the end of the day, every little tiny thing has a home and a space. And then I work with the client. I walk them through everything. I take before and after photos so I can show them like, this is what it looked like. This is where your stuff is now.
Yeah.
If I've like totally retransformed the space. And then usually they're on their own after that. A lot of them, once we've edited everything and get the stuff out that they don't want, they can kind of upkeep it. Like,
do you have like an annual maintenance program where you come back?
Yeah, sometimes we do, honestly. I would
another $100 a year, 2 hours, I'll show up and like,
there was some
we'll
clients
have a
that
discussion.
we had in
Like,
Portland.
why?
Every 3 months we would come in. And they were just like, I can't keep up with it. I have my own business. I have kids. Like, I just need you to kind of refresh my space. So
that's cool.
We can do that. And it's just a really awesome process. And people, again, it is just so rewarding watching them like walk in and be like, oh my gosh, you just have it's like this weight is lifted off their shoulders. Because again, it's more than just having a clean house or office. It's about like the energy that you feel when you're in there and like being able to just easily live your day-to-day life without getting frustrated because you can't find your keys or a tool or whatever,
Yeah, I think, and that goes back to Marie Kondo, right? And the magic art of tidying up. Carly read that. And you feel light. You feel, you get rid of all this stuff. You just, you kind of just feel like I could float around and my space feels good. And I think maybe, I was just thinking, that's maybe one of the reasons I love going to IKEA, right?
Oh my gosh.
Because you're like, it's 100%. All just organized and perfect. And like, I could see myself living there. And I don't have any of that stuff, right? But you're like, I want to move right in, And so, and it's as big as this little studio. And which is amazing.
I know. So. It's really, really cool. I love just like, and again, sometimes even helping, like I've worked with kids, which is even more impactful because they're growing and you're kind of helping them learn these skills. Like, oh, okay. if I know where all my toys are and if I put them back, well, that's another struggle.
Right.
Trying to keep it cleaned up after a child. But it's just really, really impactful. You know, when I started getting into this, I was like, this sounds fun. Let's see what this is about. And then it just became this like, whoa, this is much bigger than organizing someone's closet.
Yeah. And it's neat when you find your passion and like what
Mhm.
you're created to kind of do, I think,
Yeah.
you know? And so,
Yeah.
like for us, we love selling houses. I love getting to meet people
Yeah.
and your story and then helping you find a place to live.
Yeah.
And so I feel like right on a sweet spot. It's like not even really work. Sometimes it's work, right? When you got to like run out and show houses and do contracts and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like listening and helping, it just
totally.
And then watching the clients at the end, you're like, oh, they're so joyful, you know, they're in their new house and they're having a baby and like whatever,
huge.
you know, like it's just really
Yeah.
cool.
You feel like you have like a bigger purpose.
Yeah, and so I'm sure like the reveal, and they're like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even know my closet was half this big.
Yeah. Well, and even like right now, I'm working in a woman's closet who I love, and she's out of town, and so I'm like, this is perfect. I did a big edit with her before she left, and I was like, when you get back, you're gonna walk in. And I wish I could be there to see her face. I might sneak in her house just to see her face.
Little remote cameras up, like.
Yeah. And even just after we edited, you know, the process is a little overwhelming. Like,
so is edit a good word for like purging?
Yeah. Okay. Call it editing, or I call it editing.
I like that. It's not as harmful.
Yeah,
maybe.
I know, because people like, again, they're like, oh my gosh, this is my stuff. I've got
right. You're editing my stuff, which is like I'm just kind of moving it around.
And again, if people have, you know, again, I can work with you if you take hours to go through stuff, or if you're really quick with it, you know, whatever it may be. But yeah, she even just said, oh my gosh, I don't even have product in her closet yet or anything labeled. Everything is just edited and organized kind of, and I color code the closet and everything. And she's like, this alone is just huge. Like, I can pack for my trip easier now because I know where everything is. So yeah, it's just really awesome. And again, I think not a lot of people in this area kind of like understand what it could do for their life. And there's not a lot of companies that do this here. There's just a couple other women from what I know, more so in Kingsport area that are doing this. But I just thought, you know, I love Johnson City. I'm so happy to be back here. I want to help and bring my services to people because it can truly change your life.
Yeah, it really can. And you even drive by some houses and you're like, they need some editing on their yard, you know? And so like, or their front porch. And you're like,
so I try not to judge, but I'm like, oh, I want to get there.
Maybe you could start like a educational organizing program that they implement into schools. And like you're saying, like you were saying, like teaching kids so that they build that like habits. It's all habits, right?
It's all habits.
100%. And reading a book about habits, and like 70% of what we do is habit form or habit based, which is crazy. Like, so every day, 70% of your day is already done basically in your.
And creating new habits is like,
and creating new habits
really
is
hard.
For like a really hard habit, like quitting smoking, they said it takes like 200 days or something. But for something else, like it's 60. And it's like 21 cycles. Like if you do it for 21 days and you do it again 21 and then again 21, it's going to be like harder to stop than to keep it going.
Is that the Atomic Habits book?
That one was the Duhigg, I think, the power of habits, I think is the name of the title.
I think I have heard of that. I'm reading
Charles
Atomic
Duhigg.
Habits.
I've heard good things about that. I read, like, I've got this little Blink thing. But anyway, I listened to some of it and it was kind of like that. But cool. Habits. It all boils down to habits. So creating good ones. Work out. Listen,
work out, meditate,
pray,
do some yoga, whatever it is.
Connect with some people.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing, which is kind of like a random thing, we did a lot in Portland, was moving management, which comes a lot into your realm of real estate. Moving is so stressful. And I've moved to New York, to Oregon, back to Tennessee. So I know, unfortunately, how stressful it can be.
Yeah, those are like your favorite days ever, I'm sure.
Like if I could just make it through.
That's what I feel bad about. I'm like, hey, we sold your house,
but now
and you gotta move. You gotta pack all your stuff up.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Would you come into somebody's space and pack them up?
So I kind of created this term like moving management. And I really, really want to help people with that because, again, it is so overwhelming, whether you're moving down the street or whether you're moving across the country or to a different wherever. It's hard. And you have to look through everything. And
a good time to edit.
It's a good time to edit because so many people will take stuff that they don't need to their new house and then it just ends up there. So we did a lot of moves in Portland. And that's where I was like, wow, this is amazing. And plus you get to really form like a relationship with your client because you're with them so
Yeah,
much,
for
not
sure.
just like a day.
Right.
And then you get to kind of help transform and set them up for success.
That's a
in
great
their new
service.
house
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's where I really am trying to kind of highlight, which I think so many people are moving to Johnson City right
They
now
are.
in the
Mhm.
area.
And it's nuts. We have people moving from California, and the
Yeah.
amount of money it costs to move from California, like they're like, it was $30,000 for us to get over here. I'm like,
Yeah.
I would have
It's-
loaded up a truck, like
and driven it myself. Yeah, depending on how much stuff you have and how you do it. I mean, it was thousands and thousands of dollars for us to get back, you
crazy.
know, and
Like I'm just like, yeah, amazed. So
it's a
yeah,
lot.
I think that'd be a huge service to come in. We just
Yeah.
moved a single fella to Elizabeth, and he
Uh-huh.
was overwhelmed, you
Yeah.
know, and so like just having
It is.
somebody come in and
Yep.
come alongside you. If you're nothing
Mhm.
else, hey, I'm going to pack with you today. You know?
100%. And
Yeah.
even just like taking the load off. Like that's
Right.
the thing for people. When I just started working with this client, she's like, okay, what do you need me to do? And I was like, just go in there, have a cup of coffee, watch some TV. I'm here to do all of the stressful, heavy lifting
That's
for
great.
you, you know,
Yeah.
and that's the same thing with moving. I can help coordinate movers if you want them, packer, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I can get the supplies and do kind of all of it for you.
Yeah.
That is why people hire me, to kind of take the heavy lifting and the load off of them and the stress. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How can our listeners connect with you, Sarah?
So you can find me on Simply Sorted,
Yep.
on Instagram, Facebook, and I have a website, simplysortedco.com.
Nice.
And yeah, you can email me. All my contact information is on my website. You can book a consultation. I do offer in-person consultations or virtual.
Okay.
Some people might not really hear, but some people are a little hesitant to have me come into their home at 1st. So they're more comfortable doing it.
Or they
over
don't want to show you
FaceTime or
all of their
Zoom.
clutter. They're like,
Yeah.
I just have this one room really that
Oh,
needs
yeah.
help.
And
Yeah.
then you're walking through their whole entire house, and the consultation lasts like 2 hours.
You're like, I could help you out over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely the best way to get in touch with me. If you request a consultation or send me a question on my website, it comes straight to my phone. I can get in touch with you within the same day and help people out. So
Man.
I'm super excited.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I do a little fired up Friday thing. So what is the what's the thing that just gets you fired up? Like excited for life? Besides organizing? That's a tough question.
Yoga.
Yoga.
100%.
Yeah.
I would honestly say that yoga, my end game is to open up a yoga studio here.
Awesome.
And share that with people, because like it can change your life 100%. And yoga is way more than the physical motion of it. Yoga is actually like the way of life and how you think. It's not even what you're doing in like the yoga studio.
Yeah. Carl and I got into yoga during the pandemic, and I've been watching Breathe and Flow on YouTube. Those guys are great. And so I love it.
Yeah. You can easily go down the rabbit hole into like breath work, meditating. And for me, it's just transformed my life, knowing that like to see how I used to act and be so reactive to how I can kind of like navigate through life now. I owe it all to yoga 100%. So I'm super excited for the future to see what happens here. Because I do think there's a couple yoga studios in town.
There's one downtown yoga, I think.
Yeah. I really would be so happy if I could like start teaching some philosophy classes on yoga and all of that stuff. So that's really at the end of the day, my biggest passion is yoga.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, anything else you want to share with our listeners? Anything I forgot to ask you?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
I enjoyed our conversation. I'm sure our listeners will too. And connect with Sarah if you got the smallest little area that needs organizing, like a drawer even. Just call her, and then maybe she'll come do your whole house. That'd be 100%. Great. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure meeting you. Until next time, I'm Colin with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. If you need to make a move to Johnson City, or you want to have your property managed, or you want to buy a rental, we would love to help you with that. And we can introduce you to Sarah too. So thanks, and have an awesome day.
Thanks.